Shalom, family. Shalom to everybody in the chat. Good to see you. Hope you're all doing well in the four corners of the earth. We're going to go over Joe Biden inviting the UN to come to the United States and address racism. And the GOP, they are fired up, mad. They don't want this to happen at all. You know how they are. They don't want us to have any attention for any reason. You know how it is. So, I guess they must have heard about the article just about less than a week ago about the UN coming forward and saying that Black Americans deserve reparations. So Joe Biden invited them to come to the U.S. to talk, and we're going to go over an article that came out on CNBC Pro. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get into this story. Okay, everybody, please give me a 1 if you can see the screen. Okay. All right, let's get started. Okay. Biden administration invites UN experts on racism to visit U.S. in bid to combat racial injustice. Well, you can combat that by cutting the check. Okay. If we got enough money, we don't have to be around you. So anyway, this is CNBC Pro, July 14th, 2021. So, of course, you got people speaking out against this. I guess they're afraid some real talk is going to go on about racism in America. But I don't believe you can address racial injustice without mentioning reparations. Biden administration has invited United Nations experts on racism and human rights to visit the U.S. in effort to address domestic racial justice and equality. Responsible nations must not shrink from scrutiny of their human rights record. Rather, they should acknowledge it with the intent to improve. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said in a statement released late Tuesday, "I urge all UN member states to join the United States in this effort and confront the scourge of racism, racial discrimination, and xenophobia." Okay, I don't know why that was thrown in. Okay. Because when all people, regardless of their race or ethnicity, are free to live up to their full potential, our collective security is strengthened. The State Department has reached out to the UN Special Rapporteur to contemporary forms of racism and the UN Special Rapporteur on minority issues for an official visit, Blinken said in a statement. Invitations to other UN experts who report and advise on their thematic human rights issues will be forthcoming. Blinken also used the statement to welcome the UN Human Rights Council adoption of a resolution on Tuesday that calls for action to combat systemic racism against Africans and people of African descent in the context of law enforcement. Why do you need outsiders when we are right here telling you what we're going through? Nobody's more of an expert than the Black community. That's just my opinion. So in order for you to combat this, you got to go outside, bring people in. Okay, you bring them in. What's the end result? just a bunch of babbling and then everybody moves on. See, that's exactly what we're sick of. Pay the damn reparations. The invitation comes at a pivotal time for racial justice issues in the U.S. The murder of unarmed Black man George Floyd by the Minneapolis police officer in May 2020 prompted nationwide protests against police brutality and racism, as well as calls for legislation and government action and reparations. In light of the protests, both the special rapporteurs who have been invited to the U.S. signed a UN Human Rights Council statement last year that called for reparative intervention for historical and contemporary racial justice around the world. One reason it is important to look beyond borders of the U.S. in the face of demands of systemic change on the racial justice. So they're saying they want to address this on an international scale because it is true. Black people from all around the globe are dealing with this monster called white supremacy. We are. No matter where you are, you're being impacted, So let me just go down a bit more. Rapporteurs are independent experts appointed by the UN Human Rights Council that typically have a role in compiling information on their respective human rights issue, undertaking visits to different countries, and submitting reports to the UN, among other responsibilities. The State Department has not provided additional details about the visit of the special rapporteurs and did not immediately respond to CNBC's request for comment. The invitation serves as a stark contrast to the Trump administration's contempt for UN approaches to human rights issues, especially after the former president pulled the U.S. out of the UN Human Rights Council in 2018. Yeah, because they don't want any accountability rest in their lap. That's why Trump did that. Everything they have done to us, they don't want to take no responsibility for it. You see what their cops do, shoot you in the back and then say, I fear for my life because he doesn't want to take responsibility for being a murderer. Okay. Joe Biden rejoined it earlier this year and made fighting racial injustice a key part of his 2020 campaign, and he hasn't done a thing for us. We can't overlook that. As the president has repeatedly made clear, great nations such as ours do not hide from our shortcomings. They acknowledge them openly and strive to improve with transparency, Blinken said. Well, I hope your transparency includes reparations. That's all I got to say. In so doing, we not only work to set the standard for national responses to these challenges, we also strengthen our democracy and give new hope and motivation to human rights defenders across the globe. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to follow this story, y'all, because I want to see what kind of response, see what kind of response Joe Biden gives when they mention reparations, because part of the UN's report includes reparations for, they said, people of African descent in the U.S., African Americans. That's what they had in their report. So we'll see what his reaction is. We know he's going to try to do everything to deflect from that or not talk about it. And if he does have to talk about it, they don't have no plans on giving us anything. But I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. So I'll have an opportunity to drag him, But I just find that amazing. But yeah, all of the GOP, they are opposed to this visit, y'all. They are openly opposed to the UN coming here to talk about human rights violations on this soil. Well, that sounds like a person that don't want to take responsibility. Things sure didn't get this way by itself. Yeah, they need to broadcast this. They don't need to go behind closed doors. They need to go and put this on all of the outlets, the news outlets, so we can just sit and watch it. That's what they need to do. But we know it's going to be a lot of deflecting and trying not to take responsibility. I mean, what do you expect? How do you really fully trust Joe Biden when him, Kamala, and Tim Scott came out and said this is not a racist country? Okay, you now contradicted yourself because you're inviting the UN here to talk about racism. So it can't be not a racist country, but you are inviting them here to talk about racism. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, hopefully it will be covered where we can watch it. I'm hoping. I would rather watch it than tell you what's going on through news stories. We can watch it and critique it. But the US got plenty of money, y'all. Don't fall for this. Oh, we just don't have the money. They got tons of money. Okay, how many times did they print money when there was a recession? Okay, this place got tons of money. They just start praying. They play broke when they're talking to us. They sure didn't tell them Asians they were broke when they got millions of dollars and a hate crime bill. Nobody jumped up and screamed broke. So we're not trying to hear you when you say it to us. We're not trying to hear you. And the thing is, if we get reparations, we'll get away from you. You should be happy to get rid of us. But ladies and gentlemen, they really don't want to get rid of us. They talk a lot of crap, but at the end of the day, they don't want us to go anywhere. They really don't. That's okay, Miguel. I know it's not happening, but you know what? You know why I talk about it? Because I know it irritates them. And as long as it irritates them, I'm going to talk about it. So it's their own fault that the subject is not going away. You're going to hear about it. Your children are going to hear about it. Their children are going to hear about it. It's never going away. Okay? It's never going away. Oh yeah. Yeah, I hope the UN brings that up. How is it that you got money for this and this, but you don't have money for these folks? And we really deserved it over everybody that got it ahead of us. We sure do. We deserved it more than anybody that got it before us. Mhm. I mean, I know how things are going to go down, y'all, because I know some of my Hebrew brothers and sisters keep writing it, and I already know how it's going to go down. But if I can make life uncomfortable just for a moment, that makes me feel good. You know what? HRM, Black Grinder first. We won't stop. That reminds me, what was that? What was that movie that Chris? Oh my goodness, what was that movie? Was it State of the Union or something like that? I done told you we won't stop. I don't. I done told you we won't stop. I said that's how I feel. Mm. Yeah, I saw Germany. Wow. I mean, it does flood over there, but I never seen it that bad. But you know what, y'all? New Jersey, we got our 100-year flood last week. We got ours. It didn't make big news. Yeah, Chris Rock. That's right. But it didn't make big news, but we got our 100-year flood. Some places here flooded real badly. Mm-hmm. Belgium. Okay, you're in Belgium. I used to be in Germany for a while. So yeah, just traveled through Belgium. Um, mhm. Well, they're going to talk about it. You know how these folks are. They don't even want to talk about what they did to us. They don't want to even talk about it. So the fact that the UN is coming here and Joe Biden is talking, oh, they going to hold that against him. They are. They going to be mad as hell that he's even having this kind of discussion in the US. They don't want no talk, especially on the political level, about us getting reparations. That, trust me, that bothers them deeply. And don't let these folks get away with telling you you don't deserve nothing. You tell them they don't deserve nothing. You say that shit right back to them. Don't be afraid to do it either. You done came over here and stole up everything. You don't deserve nothing. You say it back to them. You don't ever let them talk to you like that. You tell them right back they don't deserve nothing. They shouldn't have nothing. Say it back. Mm-hmm. The whole world globe. You know what? Bill Smith, we jump started the entire global economy. We jump started it through slavery. For our forefathers did. If it wasn't for slavery, these people wouldn't have the world economy that you're looking at today, because all that cotton and goods that we did, our forefathers did during slavery, that stuff went worldwide. It created the worldwide economy. The whole globe owes us technically. Okay? The whole globe does. It started the economy over there in Europe too. Now, they don't like to tell you this, but it did. Slavery started the European economy. Mm-hmm. So no, this thing is way bigger than just the borders of the United States. Cotton alone was traded worldwide. Okay. And if you go and look, I believe well over 90% of the wealth in America came from cotton. It came from cotton. Who was picking that cotton? Okay. Enough said. Yeah. I mean, the UK also, yeah. I mean, they had slavery and still paid the offspring of slave owners all the way up until 2018, y'all. They were still paying them reparations all the way up until 2018. But you're saying the offspring of the slaves can't have that. You can kiss my ass. You can kiss my ass. Mm-hmm. Yes, Dell, that's what I just said. The UK paid reparations to slave owners all the way up until 2018. So you're telling me the people in 2018 were alive back in the 1600s and 1700s with slaves? So that's why I don't let them try to come with their justification. You weren't a slave. Well, those folks over in the UK that got paid all the way up to 2018, they weren't slave owners. They weren't slave owners, okay? Okay, they weren't. Shoot, like I said, just give me my reparations. You won't see, you won't see or hear from me or interact with me like that again. And I'm not talking about my people, okay? I'm not talking to you. Oh yeah, Del Monte Green Bean. If we all fed this country in 15 to 30 years, they would beg. I think you mean fled. Okay, I get it. If we all fled this country in 15 to 30 years, they would beg for us to come back. Once we refused, they would start a war. No more NFL, NBA. Yeah, you're right. You got that right. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, it would change. It would be a game changer, y'all. Once you have reparations, you ain't gonna take all this crap that you're taking right now. You won't. You won't be taking even a fraction of it, and they know it. Once that reparations come in your hand, you ain't gonna be listening to them again, and they know this. They know this. They know that you will be lost forever. They're not gonna get you back. Who's going to be wealthy and be oppressed? You're going to work your way out of it, and you're going to stay away from the people that are doing this to you. They know this. They know this. They know this. You ain't never going to listen to or do anything they say. And that's the truth. All right, y'all. I got another live stream coming up around 3:30, but I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. And, like I said, I will keep a close watch on this to see if the UN will actually travel here to America to talk about the racism and reparations. I'm definitely interested in keeping up with this one. You're right, Dark Visitor. I agree with you. They would be too afraid of Africa if Black Americans fled there. They would call it a security risk and start a war. Yeah. All right, y'all. Please enjoy the rest of your day. And some of you in here, I'll see you at 3:30. Shalom, family.